How you doing? How you doing? And how you doing, ladies and gentlemen? It's your boy Patty, and I appreciate you stopping by today. And I know, it's been a little while, and it's also deeply confusing that I've got just the weirdest little patch of blonde starting to come in what is a normally very red beard. I'm not a red-headed person. This was blonde hair before it. So I don't know what to tell you on that front. But we've been very, 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 very busy in IRL. As a lot of you guys may know, started a business with my brother this year, and it's been a rough past 2 months. In fact, haven't even been paid yet for the last month and a half of work. But we spent 7 hours doing paperwork yesterday, breaking out everything and getting all of our invoices done so that your boy can get paid. It's been a month of food from the food bank. Like, we living off of canned foods, but we almost out of the darkness. And a couple of months ago, I had a similar situation happen where weeks worth of work was not going to be paid for then another couple of weeks, and a really, really sweet person reached out and sent me a little bit of money, and that was huge and amazing. But I also don't want to ever make you guys feel pressured to help me out in any of my endeavors. You guys just showing up to the videos, hitting that like button, leave some comments. That's more than enough, and I love your beautiful faces for it. So I have tried to keep rather quiet about how messed up my situation has been. But thankfully, after working basically 2 weeks straight to get everything that we needed to get done so that we could invoice everything and get paid, all that's done, all of that's behind us. I plan on using some of the money to try and get a replacement motherboard for my original content PC so that we can get that back up and running and we can go back to doing stuff like streaming, which will be absolutely insane because in the little bit of downtime I have had after working on this stuff, I've been working on some stuff in Rust, and I'm building out a system right now and just finished and literally hand wrote out my electrical system that I wired up for this, and that'll allow me to do a lot of fun games, and I hopefully will be able to work that stuff into doing some stuff with a bunch of other people from Twitch and everything. So all goes to plan, we're going to be able to move on to some bigger and better things here shortly. So we out of the woodwork, everything's cool, we Gucci, life is about to be good again, and hopefully the motherboard that we have to order from China doesn't show up broken. Otherwise your man's just gonna have a crying stream where we just sit here in tears. But hopefully none of that one happens. But now that we are back, I really want to do a video for my Dragon Raja people. That's why we here today. Did you used to play Dragon Raja? If you did, I hope that's the reason you're watching this video, because I need to put you on a game that is going to be coming out August 25th that is absolutely bonkers. It meets and extends past almost everything that Dragon Raja wanted to make it seem like it was offering and giving to the world. In reality, after 2 months, that game felt so empty that there's just nothing. But the classes and the combat was super interesting, right? And that's part of what pulled you in. Alright. I got some things to show you with Marvel Future Revolution, which is, of course, the game we're here to talk about and try to put all of you guys on, because it's a little disgusting. So let's go ahead and take a look at a couple of things. First thing, let's talk about a little bit of combat, because like me, a lot of you guys were probably sold on the very interesting classes and the very unique combat system that just felt more alive, and like it was just a lot deeper than we typically get with mobile MMOs. Usually, there's not even really skills to be talking about in mobile MMOs. So Dragon Raja did some pretty good stuff with their combat, and I think it's what brought a lot of us in. Let's, we got 5 moves here, right? That seems cool, right? Let's take a look at something, and what I feel like is going to be the biggest selling point for the people that actually love combat. It's not only do we have way more available skills than anything in Dragon Raja, but there is essentially, it's like the Diablo rune system got brought in on these skills, to where the different variations of these skills themselves change wildly, leading to entirely different builds that you can be doing, where some of them are grabbing a giant group of things, the preview not playing. But it changes the moves so much to the point to where there is a significant difference in the different builds that you can do. And if you want to check out some of the build videos we've done on the channel when we had a little bit more time, there was a good amount. We were able to do builds for just PvE stuff, for just group activities versus one-on-one fights. Same thing with PvP. There is a lot to the combat to this game. And there is, I want to say, 8 characters at the moment, with a potential for them to be able to add a crazy number of characters to this. Because it's, again, Marvel that we're talking about here. They got some characters to pull from, to say the very least. But all the characters are very, very unique. I'm actually very sure that whoever worked on the Spider-Man character was in fact bullied at some point in his or her life. Let's not assume. They were either bullied at some point in their life for their love of Spider-Man, and that has now pushed them to just making a Spider-Man that is made to bully other people, because that man is a CC god. And he a little hard to fight in arena. And all PvP, actually. He's a little bit of a bully. But it's very, very fun. And there is a whole host of characters in the game already. And when you take into account the fact that they have a good number of skills, and all of those skills have multiple versions of them, that gives you a system with insane depth. Probably the most depth that we've seen to any combat system that's ever been in a mobile MMO, period. Just 100%. This is the most we have ever gotten, and it's bonkers. Just absolutely nuts. So, if you're a combat fiend, that should sell you a good little bit. That's all I'm gonna say. Couple other things that aren't really things that I can directly show you in the game at the moment, but when you're progressing through the story, there's a lot of supervillain fights. I mean, a lot of them. And they're essentially hey, do these 6 quests, and then your 7th quest is going to be fighting a boss unit. And that villain is, he gonna make you work. Like, these fights are hard. You cannot auto these fights. You cannot tunnel vision during these fights and just try and chase DPS. You have to learn mechanics. You have to learn the boss's skills, because they're not always going to telegraph to you when something's about to happen. Sometimes they just have disgusting auto attacks, and you have to find ways to mitigate that, either through some of the dash functions or maybe some of the abilities that your characters have. But it forces you to be pretty quick on your feet, and you have to 100% play this. And for anybody that may be watching this video that doesn't have much of a background with mobile MMOs, that is an outlier. That's such an outlier. You're assuming that it was cast out of society generations ago, and these are the children that have come from those outcast people. Like, so far removed from what we normally see, that we ain't even speaking the same language no more. Like, they out there. And it's just absolutely wild. This game delivers so many things that I think mobile MMO fans have been waiting for years, since they saw this market start to emerge in the last 3 to 4 years. So, I mean, it makes good on so many things that we want to see fulfilled in these kinds of games, that it's insane. It's absolutely bonkers. Another thing, and again, this one is very much going to be for my Dragon Raja people, because you guys, like myself, like to be pretty. You know what I mean? We like to look good, okay? The customization for your appearance in this is pretty solid. It's pretty solid. You basically get a piece of gear once, and the game remembers, like, oh yeah, you've seen that before. These are all the things that I've unlocked so far, and I could be a lot further in the game if it wasn't for all that IRL stuff that was happening. This is all free. You don't spend money. Let me reiterate that real fast. You don't have to spend money to have pretty cosmetics, to have a lot of control over those cosmetics and being able to mix and match stuff. It is absolutely amazing. I will go through and make myself another pretty little version of Doctor Strange pretty regularly. I really enjoy this system and mixing and matching stuff. And there's just so you can see how little I actually have unlocked because there's just a host of things yet to be either gotten by me or added. And it's good. You guys are going to be able to look pretty from just playing the game. Now, there are some stuff that you could spend money on to potentially try and get some pretty crazy gear and everything. But even a lot of the hyper advertised, let's see if we can actually find some of it real quick. Oh, nope, that's the special offer button. It's going to meow. Holding. So if we go to draws, we can see some of the different ones that they have for costumes. And some of these are pretty sick. Yeah, pretty cool. Pretty interesting. Funny thing about a lot of these sets is essentially the region costumes are the best ones. So like the Midgar one, the Sakaar one that's going through, some of these are pretty gross and become an entire build just on themselves with some of the skill classes that they boost up. And it's absolutely disgusting. But there's a lot of ones that you can get through this that they'll try and sell sometimes, which aren't that great. Really, the region sets are the ones that you want to try and go for. And there's a crafting function in-game where farming in those areas give you materials to be able to try and craft up stuff. And the great thing about gear in this game is, for one, you're gonna get a lot of it. You're gonna get a lot of it. But you can essentially combine it. So if you get a 1-star piece of gear that is for the set that you're actually going for, it's not like, oh, well, it's trash. I got the 1-star version instead of any higher one. No, you can evolve that up to a 2-star version of it. You can evolve it up to a 3, 4, and then 5-star version of it. It's a very accessible gear system that isn't super dependent on RNG. I mean, you still have to try and get the pieces in the first place, which can be very challenging, but it's not like it's something that's locked behind a paywall, which happens a lot in these games. And there is a realistic way for you to be able to grind stuff for them and be able to craft them. And it's not coming from swiping your card at any point. You can definitely swipe your card and do it a little bit faster, but it's mobile games. That's in literally every single one of them at this point. We ain't gonna get away from it. But there is just so much in terms of content that is available to you from just playing the game. And the game requires you to have to play it to be able to advance into it. Those supervillain fights, first couple are easy, then it starts getting pretty difficult. She gonna get a little hard there. And it really forces you to play. So there is just so many beautiful little things about this that I feel like been a missed opportunity in so many of the games that we have seen so far. I'm just super excited to see this actually come out August 25th and for more people to be able to play it, because I think this is going to be the standard bearer for mobile MMOs until someone takes the lessons that this one has learned and improved upon and takes them even further. So until we get just an absolutely crazy game, this is going to be one of the best ones we see on the platform, period. I say that 100%. And it's just good. It's just good. This video is mainly for all of my Dragon Raja people. I know you guys remember the patches. I know you guys remember when we would get patch notes that were literally just, we added a sale to the game, we removed an old sale from the game, and that's it. That was the entire patch. We would get entire pay-to-win patches that were just crappy sales for an exorbitant amount of money for materials and resources that get wasted just from your normal progression. Like buying stuff in that game, that stuff is only useful for about that much of time until you get to the next level bracket, or you get certain gear and start moving past that, and you start replacing stuff. And if you spent money to get that stuff, it means you're basically just lighting money on fire at that point. So I'm very, very happy to see that there is so much content in this game that is free of any having to spend features at all. Now, you might get bullied in PvP by pay-to-win people. And one of the most important places where this will come in, and I actually got this wrong in another video where we talked about our free-to-play experience so far and how we viewed the game. Feel free to check that video out. But it's what's the best way to phrase this? While there is some difficulty spikes throughout it in terms of once you get to like the fourth world, if you are 100% free to play, you will have a lot more of a punishing experience, but you can still move forward. In PvP, that's going to be very, very difficult. And in places like the Dark Zone, which is kind of the end game for this whole thing, people kill you 3 times, you get kicked out of it. So the pay-to-win aspect can suck pretty hard there. But what I was wrong about was I thought you wouldn't be able to go in there until the next day. No, you can just go right back in after you get killed 3 times. And one of the most effective ways to escape groups of whales that are just completely ravaging a server, see where it says channel right here? This is essentially an instance. Channel 2 and Channel 1 are entirely, like, they're the same world that we're in right now, but it's a separate instance of it, so there'll be separate players in there. So you can essentially just channel hop to get away from really toxic groups and get to a quieter place where you are more freely able to do your stuff. And that's an amazing note. Like, that really is going to impact a free-to-play's experience because they have that ability. Whereas there's been some games in the past where you're basically just stuck. Like, PvP is just a place for those people dropping a bunch of money to feel good about themselves and feel good about their wasted investment. And that's it. That's it. It was a horrible experience for free-to-play. But systems like this in place in this game gives me hope that the free-to-play experience is still going to have its own space. It may not be able to contend with the pay-to-win players, but your complete gaming experience isn't going to be ruined, and that was very much a thing in Dragon Raja. I'm sure y'all remember queuing into a battleground, seeing that there was some crazy whale that spent thousands of dollars on the game. It was just two-shotting or one-shotting people. It was just like, cool. So I'm just kind of going to AFK for the next 5 minutes until this is over because I can't actually play the game. That was a very frustrating experience, and hopefully we see an improvement on this in this one. From what I've been told, there is somewhat of a matchmaking and MMR system, at least in dimensional duels, but it's far from perfect because even top players have still reported that they'll randomly get a low level that has no business fighting them being put into their matches. And there's also Omega War, which is something that servers can queue up for after a certain time of day. And yeah, same thing there, where there's no real power matchmaking or MMR that is going to, put you in a comparable bracket. There's a decent chance that you can get bullied in there, but there's also some builds that you can use in there that will make your life much, much easier, depending on which character you're playing. Everybody's got at least a little bit of a meme hidden somewhere. So all in all, I really just wanted to do a video for my Dragon Raja people and tell you guys that, hey, this is an amazing mobile MMO, one that I am 100% support you guys in going to check out when this goes live. Right now, it's only available in Canada, so if you don't live in Canada, you need a VPN to be able to try it out. But it's what a lot of us have been waiting for, really. And I wanted to make sure that if there was any way for me to put it on your guys' radar, that we go ahead and try and do a video like this, because I love my Dragon Raja people. For those of you not familiar with me or the channel's history, Dragon Raja was our breakout game, essentially. We had maybe 300 some subscribers before we got into the beta for Dragon Raja, and then we covered it every day for 4 months straight, I want to say. Until we were completely burned out of the game and, mad that they didn't tell us what our basic stats were even doing anyways. But that was huge for my channel, for my time on YouTube here, and it did one of the what is still has been the most special thing about my YouTube experience was connecting me with a very large international audience, and I got to regularly talk to and interact with people from all over the globe, and I love that. I still love that to this day. I don't care what country you're from, what's going on with the politics in your country or any crap like that. I love people. I love you guys. I want to support you guys anywhere you are in the world, and I want you guys to be happy and fulfilled. I want nothing but the best for every other person walking this planet with me. And I will always appreciate the fact that covering Dragon Raja gave me such an international audience and let me connect with so many amazing people. Some of which still follow and support the channel to this day, and I absolutely love you guys, and it's incredibly touching. Makes your boy want to cry a little bit, I can't lie. But it's been one of the most amazing experiences in my life, and I'm poor peoples, okay? We ain't never probably gonna be able to afford leaving this country for a while. So being able to connect with all of you guys was absolutely amazing and one of my favorite experiences in my life. So if I can do anything to give back to you guys, like show you a game that will actually value your time, actually give you a great depth of systems and gameplay, and not just treat it like a social pinata that they can beat for money to come out of. So hopefully you guys check this out. Hopefully you love it as much as I have. And yeah, thank you guys so much for stopping by today. I love your faces. I hope you doing good today. And you gonna have to catch your boy in the next one as soon as we find that record button. Because we out of here. Deuces.